Hi, I am Atheist T-Girl. It has been brought to my attention that there is a person trying to imitate me and pass off information that is not right. Remember, if the info has the Atheist T-Girl seal of approval, you know that it has been well researched and of high quality. Don't accept anything else. Hi, I am Theist G-Girl. It has been brought to my attention that some people are accusing me of copying other people and trying to mislead consumers. Be sure that it's genuine. Look for my seal of approval.
So gender is just a social construct, and believing in God is a crutch. When you mix them together and give them a whirl, what do you got? Atheist T-Girl!
Hello everyone, it's Atheist T-Girl, also known as Atlantis. Before we get to the main topic for today, it's time for Fundy of the Week. Rick Wiles is the host of True News radio program. He is a far-right fundy and likes conspiracy theories. I personally couldn't believe he could top that Target removing gender labeling from their toy section and allowing trans people to use restrooms would lead to a nuclear war with Russia, but he's going to give it a try.
When you go to your favorite fast food restaurant, you're going to be eating a fake hamburger. You're going to go to the grocery store and buy a pound of fake hamburger or a fake steak, and you won't know that it was grown in some big corporation's laboratory.
So the FDA will not label lab-grown meat? That seems dubious.
This is the nightmare world that they're taking us into. They're changing God's creation. Why? Because they want to be God. They want to do exactly what Lucifer did before the flood. It's why God destroyed it.
We were creating fake meat and creating new creatures before the flood? Then one of them fools must have been smart enough to build their own boat once it started to drizzle.
He said he regretted that he ever made mankind because they were destroying his creation. The Bible says God is coming back to destroy those who are destroying the earth.
The Bible also says, "Whatever shall we do with our sister who has no breasts?" But I do not put much stock into that verse either.
So God is an environmentalist. He takes this very seriously. He created this planet. He created the universe. And he's watching these Luciferians destroy his planet, destroy the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, change human DNA. Why? They want to change human DNA so that you can't be born again. That's where they're going with this, to change the DNA of humans so it will be impossible for a human to be born again. They want to create a race of soulless creatures on this planet.
Holy! For today's main topic, I thought I would take a look at a pediatric advocacy group. Currently, the largest pediatric advocacy group is the American Academy of Pediatrics. They have over 65,000 members. There's another group that split off from the American Academy named the American College of Pediatrics. They have about 500 members and split from the AAP in 2002 when the AAP came out in support of gay marriage. American Academy of Pediatrics and American College of Pediatrics. So weird that they both have almost the same name, with each using a different name for a place of education. I'm sure that is a coincidence. I came upon the American College of Pediatrics, or ACPEDS, a few times while I was researching some other topics. When I looked for a source that claimed something was wrong with abortion, gay people, or trans people, I started to see research papers, press releases, and position statements from this group, so I decided to check them out. One of the first things I thought of was to see who was on their board of directors, as they might let me know where they are coming from. When I went to the page and put a board of directors in the search bar, this is the page she gave me. You have to sign in to see their board of directors. I would much rather accidentally like a YouPorn video with my Facebook account than have a group like this show up on my wall. So that's out. These were such a public-seeking group would hide their board of directors, but maybe other advocacy groups are like that. I imagine that when you are in a group that has over 500 members and you are publishing material that will be dealing with sex, gender, politics, it might be a good idea to be discreet. I can imagine that the AAP does the same thing. Oh well, nope. They have their names and pictures and other info right there for anyone to see. I wonder how they're able to be public with 65,000 members, but AC Peds has to hide theirs. Well, luckily for us, whoever designed the page for AC Peds didn't get the memo that they wanted the board to be secret. After doing some Googling, I found another page under the About Us section that had some pictures, and in the listing of the names of the people in the pictures, they listed their position on the board. So who do we have? Michelle Critelia, Executive Director. Here's how she was introduced by the Alliance Defending Freedom, another group I'm going to have to need to research at some point. Quote, "From high school sports to student primacy, it seems like every day we hear another story of how transgender ideology is affecting school-aged children. What's worse is that many of the academic and medical organizations have signed on to this belief that you could change your biological sex. We need a voice of reason." Thankfully, Dr. Michelle Critelia is such a voice. While many in the medical field are beginning to cast aside the best interests of children and endorse transgender ideology, despite little scientific basis, Dr. Critelia has consistently stood for truth. End quote. One of my favorite articles from her that I found was entitled, "I'm a pediatrician. Here's what I did when a little boy patient said he was a girl." Note the misgendering in the title. She spends most of the article comparing people who are trans with people who have mental disorders and with misleading info on medications for trans people. Quentin Van Meter, President. In a quote, "But are transgender individuals born that way? Dr. Van Meter states that there is no biological evidence, and has it ever been searched for?" Dr. Francis Collins stated that there is absolutely no biological evidence for same-sex attraction or transgenderism. Oh, I hate that term. Michael Artigas, Vice President, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. He was the author of the AC Peds letter arguing against the U.S. House for lowering the age of consent. Oh, that's not too bad. I wouldn't want to lower the age of consent. Oh, wait, I stopped reading too soon. Lowering the age of consent for outpatient psychotherapy from 15 to 12, meaning he felt that letting children talk to counselors at a younger age was a bad idea. Scott Field, Secretary. He wrote for the AC Peds position statement about whether the HPV vaccine should be used or not. He is arguing against it. HPV vaccine guards against certain viruses that can lead to someone getting cancer later in life. Because these viruses are passed through sexual contact, a lot of conservatives have pushed against it with the argument that getting the vaccine would make kids more sexually active. This one makes me a bit angry because when my best friend died of cancer 2 years ago, one of the last coherent things she said to me was that she wished the vaccine had been available when she was younger, because it was likely that what she had was a result of these viruses. Clearly, we have something to prevent cancer, and it's being held up because people are worried about kids having sex. Kids will have sex anyway. Anyway, his beginning quote in the paper tells you all you need to know about it. Adverse effects that occur after vaccines are frequently not caused by the vaccine, and there has not been any noticeable rise in premature ovarian failure cases in the last 9 years since HPV-4 vaccine has been widely used. Nevertheless, so basically, yes, we don't see any issues with this vaccine so far. It has we see no signs that it's bad, but let's go ahead and pretend it's bad and give you some reasons why. Russell Gambosi, treasurer. Now hold on, he's a treasurer. He's supposed to be boring and care about money. What kind of crap could he be into? In an interview with the National Catholic Register, he said, students should be taught about how to maintain a strong and healthy marriage. They should be taught about delaying childbirth until marriage. The article in question was talking about a straight marriage being the best kind of marriage there is. Finally, Dan Trumbull, who I found as the author of ACPED's paper supporting the right to beat your children. With such marvelous pedigree, it is no wonder that the Southern Poverty Law Center has labeled ACPEDs as a fringe LGBT hate group. It should be noted that the ACPEDs argue against this classification and state on the inquiries and criticism of their college page, yes, they have added a page to deal with the fallout of being an LGBT hate group. They state, no, the college and its members are not anti-LGBTQ. We are pro-health, pro-child, and pro-family. And they ask people to read the statement of inclusiveness. Clicking on a link brings us to this page. This one generally got a laugh out of me, but to try to be fair, I did search more for inclusiveness page, as I know sometimes web pages move and you just miss updating a link somewhere. Thanks again to Google, I found their statement. I won't go over the whole thing. You can read it yourself if you want, see the footnote. But two things I would like to point out. One, they state in one of their examples that they are strongly pro-vaccine, which is contradicted by their HPV article they published. Two, in two different places they state that their physicians should treat LGBT individuals, but they will not facilitate risky behavior. That means gay sex and trans hormones. So why should we care? I mentioned at the beginning they only have 500 members, so it could be assumed they are small and have no influence. But such an assumption would be wrong for the following three reasons. One, they are actively trying to confuse people looking for info from the AAP to get information from them. I mentioned earlier that their name was very close to the AAP. Well, that is not a coincidence, and it is something the ACPEDS works towards. I can't tell you how many times in my research I would get the two groups mixed up and be scratching my head when I thought I was reading something from the AAP, but it wasn't. And their works at imitation go beyond just their name. The AAP put out a brochure named Just the Facts About Sexual Orientation and Youth. Right after, the ACPEDS put out a brochure and a website named Facts About Youth. Notice they use Facts About Youth in both of the titles. And when you compare the visual of the two, you'll note that both use similar silhouette graphics. As a side note, notice that the one for AAP states right on the front it's from them. The ACPEDS, you have to go to About Us page to find out who set this up. Sorry, you might be hearing some thunder. They're being used by other anti-trans and LGBT people as sources. Just for example, in 2016, Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry encouraged schools to resist Obama administration guidelines on the rights of trans students. Let us use the restroom, please. In his quote, he stated, "Look, the American Pediatrics put out a statement that basically says that transgender identity is a mental illness. You cannot change biology. You cannot say you are female and now we're going to make you a male simply by some sort of operation. It doesn't work that way. The good Lord doesn't build us that particular way. They're trying to change our sex, who we are, and basically claiming that gender identity can be a biological as well as psychological. And if you look at a study after study from some of the leading psychologists, Johns Hopkins University put one out, American Pediatrics, all of them said that this is a mental state. You cannot change a person's biological identity. End quote. This isn't just a single event. AC-PEDS has been on Fox News, various conservative shows, and even used by Washington Times. 3. They are trying to influence the Supreme Court. An amicus brief is a brief to the court from a party that is a non-party of the case, but who wishes to offer information, expertise, or insight on this particular case. Basically, someone is saying, hey, I know you're working on this case. You should really consider this info before you rule. The AC-PEDS has started doing this with the Supreme Court. Just a quick search turned up many, including A. The Obergefell versus Hodges case, which was the case that allowed gay marriage. They were arguing against gay marriage, naturally, stating that it was not as healthy for children as straight marriage. B. In Cook versus Harding, which was a case about whether gestational surrogacy contracts are enforceable, they were arguing against in vitro fertilization. It is a complicated case that has to do with the abortion requested by the person who contracted a surrogate. I know they're against it because of the number of abortions that come about from IVF. But I thought one thing that is interesting to note was this statement. Quote, every pregnancy involves significant physical stress for the pregnant woman. It is interesting that an anti-choice paper starts their argument against IVF by arguing that it's hard on women, an argument often denied by the anti-choice sides when arguing against abortion. Finally, the Masterpiece Cake Shop versus Colorado Civil Rights Commission. Yes, the gay cake case. They stated their interest was something that would be affected by this case because medical professionals face efforts to compel speech and conduct matters of life and death in violation of freedom of speech, consciousness, and free exercise. What they worried about was a relaxing of abortion laws and upholding of laws such as those that require crisis pregnancy centers to state that they do not have a medically licensed person on property despite trying to pretend that they are a clinic. There is so much to the AC-PEDS that I could probably keep going on it. It has a lot out there and they have done a lot. They are gross. They are a very small French group who actively try to get confused with the largest pediatric group so that people can use them as reference. They are being used by people to help deny freedoms to the LGBT community, to people who get pregnant, and to others. The next time you see a quote or a research paper from a pediatric group, make sure it says AAP and not ACPEDS. Because one of them is professional and one of them is a group of hate mongers who would rather ignore science to enforce their beliefs. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and ring that bell. It's supposed to let you know that I put up new videos. I don't know that it actually does that because YouTube's a mess. If you'd like to leave some comments below, please be sure to do so. I always read my comments and try to respond to everyone. If you put anything homophobic or transphobic, I will delete it. I don't have to put up with that on this page. If you'd like to see more about me, you can look me up at Twitter under Atheist_T_girl. I'm almost always on there and happy to talk. And I hope y'all all have a great day.